DeVonta, what's going on? Howie Roseman of the Eagles. How you doing?
I'm good. Can't complain.
You're an Eagle, man. We're fired up.
This is awesome, man. You're going to enjoy it. I just want you to enjoy this night and come ready to work. The reason we took you is because we know you're ready to work. I'm ready to go and catch a lot of footballs.
Over the middle, it's caught, and DeVonta Smith, touchdown, Bama!
Touchdown! DeVonta Smith cannot be stopped. A truly special performance by the Heisman Trophy winner.
There he is, your newest member of the Philadelphia Eagles, and boy, is DeVonta Smith a player to be excited about. An instant difference maker for the offense. Heisman Trophy-winning wide receiver. DeVonta, we can't wait to see what you do in an Eagles jersey. Congratulations. After a thrilling night one, we are ready for night two of the NFL Draft. Thanks for joining us here on Eagles Draft Central, presented by Dietz Watson. I'm Amy Campbell, joined by the lovely and talented and hilarious, I might add, Fran Duffy and Ross Tucker. You guys ready to do this thing again?
I want to know, am I lovely and he's talented? Or am I talented and he's lovely? Because I know I'm the one that's hilarious.
I'm the one that checks boxes.
Lovely.
I just check boxes here.
Lovely, talented, and hilarious. We'll let you guys guess. Which is which here. I think all three. We all check all the boxes. All right, let's talk about last night, though. A thrilling evening as the Eagles select DeVonta Smith with the 10th pick, trading up from 12, leapfrogging the New York Giants. In-division trade going on there, trading with the Cowboys, of course, to land a Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver. Feeling like a win all around. I think everybody's pretty pumped up today about this.
You could feel it just getting out of bed and coming down here to South Philadelphia, right? There's a little bit of a buzz around the city. You can listen to the radio. You go on social media, whether it's on Twitter. You watch the responses to articles and to videos and to podcasts. Everybody's excited about DeVonta Smith and his arrival here in Philadelphia.
Well, I haven't heard one person say a negative thing about it yet, and I happen to agree with them. And if you just watch those highlights that we started the show with, and you didn't get excited, turn in your Eagles fan card, because this guy is a stud, and it got confirmed today that the Giants were going to take him at 11, which makes it even better. I mean, we thought that last night, but that got confirmed today. That is amazing. I hope he has 10 catches, 140 yards, and 2 touchdowns in both games against the G-Men this year.
Yeah, absolutely sweet in every single way. The Eagles move up from 12 to 10 to get their guy, DeVonta Smith, and we saw how exciting that was in the draft room. But let's hear from the newest Eagle on what it was like to get that phone call that he'd been working for his whole life.
I was shocked that they had traded up for me. So I was really like, if they traded up for me, they see something that they like. So I was really excited, and it's a blessing. And then Jalen, I mean, that's my guy. I mean, been with him in time in Alabama. Even when I was a recruit, he was the guy trying to get me to come to Alabama. So, I mean, that's my guy. I have a great relationship, and I'm ready to work.
Jalen, meaning Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, who's going into his second year. The two of them very close from their time at Alabama together. That makes such a big difference. For a young quarterback, when you're trying to set him up for success, you give him playmakers. The Eagles adding a guy in DeVonta Smith that Jalen Hurts is already very familiar with. I don't think you can understate how important that is for him.
No, that familiarity is so important for those guys as they're trying to build a rapport and try and get some momentum going into the rest of the offseason. And I think when you look at Jalen Hurts, that's just such a huge ace in the hole to be able to have that relationship with your future first-round pick. It's got to be exciting for both those guys.
Well, and think about what happens in the offseason, right? Like, they'll all get together in Texas or Florida, and they'll throw together because they want to get more familiar. They want to get more comfortable. Well, Jalen Hurts and DeVonta Smith already have that. They already have that relationship. Maybe they can build it into like a Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison type thing. Those guys used to run 100 routes before games. There's a reason for that, and it feels like Jalen Hurts and DeVonta Smith are already kind of a step ahead.
Yeah, and just the closeness between them when it comes to building trust with your receivers, I don't think you can understate what a big deal that is. And Marvin Harrison had a lot of nice things to say about this pick for the Eagles as well. Eagles fans should check out his social media because he loved this choice for the Eagles. So much to love about this player, and the more the Eagles staff got to know about DeVonta Smith, the more they loved him. Eagles insider Dave Spadaro sat down with VP of Player Personnel Andy Weidel for more insight on the DeVonta Smith selection. Here's a clip.
Well, I think, you saw the catches. You saw the different levels he made plays, how he beat man coverage, who he was going up against in the SEC, some top flight corners for the past 2 years. And he was productive. And he showed up. And he showed up in big moments. That's the one thing. The moment was never too big for him. And when his team needed him the most, he answered the bell consistently. When Jalen Waddle was hurt, he elevated his game. And I think just overall, with the pandemic and how this season was and the challenges, he attacked the season. His numbers speak for it. 117 catches this year in the SEC. Sets the record for all-time career touchdown receptions in SEC history. Those are amazing things. And if you touch on, the things he does, the little things he does, special teams-wise, he returns a punt for a touchdown against Arkansas. He goes out, he plays gunner for the punt team when they need someone to cover kicks. There was no job too small, and the selflessness that he displayed for his team, was amazing what he did and how he stepped every time that his team needed him this year. So.
Your Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver playing gunner for the punt team. I love it. And with that, let's bring in Eagles insider Dave Spadaro for more on the Eagles' first round selection. Dave, it seems like everyone is feeling great about this pick. What's your biggest takeaway from your conversation with the Eagles front office about how this unfolded?
Amy, I've talked to Andy Weidel and Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, DeVonta today. I also had a conversation with DeVonta's mentor. And, they grew up together in Amite City, Louisiana, and they really prepared for this moment. So my biggest takeaway is that we all talk about how unflappable DeVonta is. He really is. It's poise. He expected to be great. He started playing football at the age of 5, tackle football in Louisiana. And he's progressed, and he's been a dominant player since like 8th or 9th grade. Now, he was a great basketball player, too. So everything that he's done has kind of gone according to his plan, his path. Goes to Alabama, wins the national championship. He's the one as a freshman who wins the game, catches the touchdown pass. Woohoo! Comes back for more, big play after big play. Dominates in his senior season. Dominates in the national championship game last year. Wins the Heisman Trophy. This is, and not in zero instances, did he sweat? Did he lose his cool? Did he look like the moment was too big for him? So my biggest takeaway here, guys, is that he believes that he is here for a reason, and he believes that his next step is stardom in the NFL.
And Dave, we know that he's very versatile. You see him on the tape playing inside, playing outside. I guess I'm curious, do you know how the Eagles are going to use him?
Yeah, I think what Nick's indication from last night was, and talking to him after that press conference, move him around, put him at the X, move him to the F, which is the slot. He and Jalen Reagor can be complementary players. Reagor with that down the field speed, and Smith with that after the catch yak ability that Nick talked about last night. I think the Eagles want to move their receivers around. We did not see a lot of pre-snap motion in the Doug Peterson offense this last couple of years. It just was a static offense. I think that's about to change. I think there's going to be a lot more dynamism, and I think it starts at the wide receiver position with players who are interchangeable. DeVonta Smith comes in as a polished route runner who catches everything, who's fearless, who steps up at big moments in a career filled with them at the very highest level at the University of Alabama.
And Dave, we talked earlier about the relationship between Jalen Hurts and DeVonta Smith. How big is that going to be for Jalen as he goes into that second year and tries to take that next jump?
It's interesting, Fran. When I was talking to DeVonta today, Jalen was in the room, and it was funny. I had not met Jalen face-to-face, so it was weird because last year, of course, with COVID, everybody wearing the mask, did social distancing, physical distancing, that Jalen actually recruited DeVonta to Alabama, so they've known each other for a long time. And DeVonta also has a really good relationship with Jalen Reagor. And if this offseason continues to be a little bit different than what we've experienced and the players aren't on the field as much, you lose some of that chemistry, that timing that's so important to develop. But these two have played together, so they've got that built-in chemistry and timing. And I think Jalen Hurts knows that when he throws a ball to number 6, if that's in fact what DeVonta Smith is going to wear, that the ball will be caught. They've got good timing. They've got good chemistry. It's already built in. This relationship is off and running already.
All right, Dave, let's look ahead to night number 2. As it stands currently, the Eagles have 2 picks tonight and plenty of needs to fill. Any thoughts on positions the team may address tonight?
Yeah, nothing specific, Amy. I think the Eagles have so many positions. No need to reach. Just stay true to your board, follow your scouts, and trust that process. I think that's what Howie Roseman's going to do tonight.
All right, Dave, thanks so much. We will, of course, be catching up with you with our pick selection shows live as soon as the Eagles make their picks.
Alrighty.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, but first, Eagles fans, did you know you can wake up to the latest Eagles news delivered straight to your Amazon Alexa or Google Home? It's pretty fantastic. For more details, go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/voice. Plenty of big names still left on the board heading into night 2 of the draft. On the other side, we will be highlighting some prospects you'll want to know. Stay with us. We're glad you're with us here on Eagles Draft Central as we get ready for the start of night 2. The Eagles with a couple of picks tonight, number 37 and number 70 as it stands right now. Plenty of big names still on the board, and we are going to talk some offense. Ross, we'll start with you. What about an offensive player available tonight that you really like?
Now, listen, I think it's more likely that the Eagles here in the second round at least take a defensive player, but one of the guys still on the board that I love is Elijah Moore, the wide receiver from Ole Miss. I know they took DeVonta Smith, but Elijah Moore is the best slot receiver in this draft. He can play outside as well, but what he did to SEC defenses in Lane Kiffin's offense from the slot position was magnificent. And so the Eagles, you never know. Maybe they'll get DeVonta Smith on the outside to play the X, and maybe it will be Elijah Moore inside at the slot. He's explosive. He's versatile. I'm stunned he did not go in the first round. I have yet, almost like DeVonta Smith, I've yet to hear one coach or scout say a negative word about him other than his size.
The ball never hits the ground, so very similar to DeVonta Smith. And I think when you watch Elijah Moore, one of the things I love about him, he plays through contact so well. And he's very similar to Tyler Lockett when Tyler Lockett was coming out, and Lockett has done nothing but excel inside and outside. I think Moore will do the same thing.
I love the Tyler Lockett comparison. What I love about Elijah Moore, like you said, productive. Broke A.J. Brown's record for receptions, 86 receptions in 2020, and Moore opted out after just 8 games. So pretty productive there. All right, Fran, what about a player you're looking at tonight on the offensive side?
Yeah, I'm going to rewind back a few years ago when Baker Mayfield was coming out of the NFL, or coming out into the NFL draft. He was the number 1 pick. 4 of his offensive linemen also in the NFL draft. And I remember talking to those guys at the Combine, and they all said, hey, look, we've got a young guy coming up. He started every game as a true freshman, Creed Humphrey. This is a player you need to know. And watching him, he checks all the boxes. He's athletic. He's smart. He's technically sound. He's strong. Tested very well at the Combine. Had a great week at the Senior Bowl. Creed Humphrey, just checking every box along the way. The film's good. Senior Bowl's good. Combine's good. Everything really, really good with Creed Humphrey. He could start at guard or center. Really, really intriguing player.
Yeah, and that was the Orlando Brown, Ben Powers year. All those guys ended up getting drafted in the first 4 rounds, yet I know some people that watched the tape that year and felt like Creed Humphrey, as a freshman, was the best of the bunch. I actually thought he would leave school last year after his redshirt sophomore year. He came back, had yet another good year. And look, the Eagles' interior offensive line, they're getting a little bit older. That could very easily be the Eagles' pick.
Yeah, I'm looking at some interior linemen for tonight as well for the Eagles and going to another program that produces a lot of good ones, Alabama, and I'm looking at Landon Dickerson. What I love about him is his experience. He has been doing this for a really long time, started his career at Florida State, transferred to Alabama, been sidelined by injuries throughout his career, and that's probably the reason he didn't go in the first round. Many people say first-round talent, won the Remington Trophy as the nation's best center. He can play inside, he can play outside, and let's talk about the size. 6'6", 333 pounds, just a big offensive lineman with a ton of experience.
Well, he would immediately be the biggest starting center in the NFL if he played center. This is my single favorite player in the draft. I love everything about this dude. You follow him on social media. He's hilarious. He's nasty. He likes to try to finish people. He would have gone, I think, probably first 25 picks if it wasn't for the injury history.
He's got starts in his career at left tackle, left guard, right tackle, and, of course, center. So that versatility is so valuable.
And hilarious on social media. So it's kind of like a young Ross Tucker, we might say. Huh?
I'll take it. But he better not be posting food pictures or videos. That's my game, okay? That is my territory.
All right, so I know you're going to stay on the offensive line with your last player here for us to.
Yeah, I'm going to go Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame, and he's an offensive line from Notre Dame. We can maybe just start there. It's unbelievable what they have produced in recent years. McGlinchey, Ronnie Stanley. Before that, Zach Martin played left tackle. I think the last time Notre Dame had a left tackle that didn't go in the first round is Eichenberg, but he started the last 3 years. He'll likely go in the second round. He's very tough. He's physical. He can play guard or tackle. Maybe not as smooth in his footwork as some of those other guys were, but he's a starter at guard or tackle all day long.
You know, my favorite game from Liam Eichenberg was Florida State this year. He got poked in the eye, took a shot in the face in the middle of the game, had to sit out a couple series. He played the rest of the game with his eye completely shut. And he took the helmet off. He looks like Deadpool when he takes the mask off. It was terrible. But he played the entire second half looking like that. I was wowed by his toughness.
Toughness. I love it, especially in the trenches. And I also love all of these guys we're talking about, a lot of experience. I really love to see that on the offensive line, especially. So we'll have to see what happens tonight. We will, of course, be live immediately after each pick in our pick selection show. Plenty of people think the Eagles could be going defense tonight. So on the other side of the break, we're talking some big-time defenders still up for grabs. Stay with us. Eagles Draft Central rolls on as we look to the defensive side of the ball and some big names up for grabs tonight. The Eagles addressing the offense on night one, leading many to think defense could be a priority tonight. Ross, let's get started with a defensive player that you like tonight.
Well, I'm going to go with another Golden Domer, back-to-back Notre Dame guys for me, and it's linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, partly because I wanted to make sure everyone knew I learned how to pronounce his name, also because he is an awesome football player. You know, the only mock draft where he didn't go in the first round was the real draft. I mean, everybody thought he'd be a top 20 pick. He is exactly, as you watch this tape, what you're looking for in an outside linebacker in the NFL these days. Outstanding in space, terrific in coverage. He's a run and hit guy, maybe a little undersized, but in my mind, you gladly give up 10 pounds, 15 pounds to get what you get from him in space and in coverage.
I mean, he is so athletic that a lot of people feel that he's a safety in the NFL. And that's really, I think, the discussion with the Owusu-Koramoah is he a linebacker? Is he a safety? Very similar to Isaiah Simmons a year ago. He went in the top 10 to the Arizona Cardinals, just a different package. Simmons was 6'5", 240 pounds. Owusu-Koramoah a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I'm surprised this guy is still available. Talk about another guy who's on the freaks list. But sometimes that happens with guys who are super athletic, tweeners. You don't quite know where they go. A chess piece for a defense. But I think it's interesting, especially with the Eagles and the history of linebackers and not prioritizing them, with Jonathan Gannon being there, how he's used linebackers in the past. I'm really interested in this. And if he's there at 37, it's going to be interesting. All right, Fran, let's get to a player you're looking at tonight.
Yeah, so Ross started us off with a player who's a linebacker safety hybrid. I want to take us to another hybrid player, but this guy is a corner safety hybrid, and that's Elijah Molden from Washington. When you watch this kid, he is so much fun because his film just screams competitiveness, toughness, instincts, versatility, run game, blitzing, man-to-man coverage, zone coverage. He can play from depth. He can play pressed up in the slot, and that's where he spent most of his time in his career, is in the slot, in their sub packages. And when you look at the history of Washington defensive backs, this is another school. I mentioned it earlier with Creed Humphrey. When these guys are coming out, the Buda Bakers and the Taylor Rapps, I talk to these guys and they're like, you got to watch this Elijah Molden kid that's coming up. Molden is the son of a former first-round pick. His dad, Alex Molden, was in the league for 10 years. We've got a bunch of those legacy players in this draft. Elijah Molden, really, really fun player.
You know what's so weird about University of Washington? All of these guys, Buda Baker, Taylor Rapp, everyone had concerns about their measurables. They're not tall enough. They didn't run a fast enough 40. Those guys are good players. I mean, Buda Baker is an absolute monster and difference maker for the Arizona Cardinals. Molden's versatility is exactly what they like these days. Guys that, like you said, Fran, that can play both safety or in the slot and the nickel. You need that. Guys get banged up over the course of the year. You need guys like Molden.
Buda Baker, the richest contract in NFL history at safety.
Yeah, not a bad legacy there. I really like this player as well. I'm really interested in the DBs tonight, especially with Jonathan Gannon being the former DBs coach and how he's going to use all of those guys. Love Elijah Molden. Love his IQ raised in the game like we talked about. I'm about to talk about a player who's also raised in the game that Eagles fans should be quite familiar with, Asante Samuel Jr. And look, the knock on him is his size, right? Not the biggest DB in this class, but same size his dad was, and his dad had absolutely no problems being productive and having a great and lengthy career in the NFL. He's not the biggest guy, but he's very physical. He's very confident, always in position, even when he's outsized. Great instincts, great awareness, incredibly productive at Florida State. And look, that great legacy again. A lot of legacy corners in this draft. And I think when you grow up with your dad having played at the highest level, you learn a lot from a very young age. There's things that are just in you that can't be taught, that you just know from a young age. So I'm really excited to see where this player ends up tonight.
Well, and I was teammates with his dad, and he reminds me a lot of his dad. They are very similar. Asante Samuel was so good, Fran, in off coverage. And reading things, so good as a zone corner as well. He just had those natural instincts. He was only a fourth-round pick out of UCF, didn't have outstanding physical skills, sort of like his son, but because of the mental side of things, became a really good player.
That's the thing. When you watch him, it's like, all right, do the same thing with him that you did with his dad. Play him in off coverage, let him read the quarterback, read the receiver, and jump routes. That's what he does best.
And look, when you have players that people consider undersized, these guys have been hearing that their whole lives, so they have a little bit of an extra fire to prove people wrong. And when they're productive, they're productive. You can't argue with the production. This has been a very productive player. All right, let's get one more from you, Ross. We're staying in the defensive backfield here.
Well, and speaking of productive, how about Trayvon Merrick from TCU? That's another guy that most mock drafts had him in the first round. If there's a chance for the Eagles to get him at 37, that would be a home run in my mind, because it's a position where they could always add somebody. He's a guy that can play deep in his half of the field, even deep middle, makes a lot of plays in man-to-man coverage. Gary Patterson, the TCU head coach, has that defensive background. He asks a lot of his safeties, and he has said on the record Merrick is the best man-to-man safety he has ever coached. That is high praise.
Amy, this would be the part in the kickoff show where I would now go to the breakdown and start going to the X's and O's. I don't want to get too far into the weeds here with Trevon Merrick, but you talk about the role in that defense, and he so often got matched up on slot receivers. And I think when you look at the way that he was able to play from depth, he is such a fun player because he is instinctive. He's got great ball skills. You talk about the production. He can come down and run the alley. And the main thing here is that the scheme that they played in terms from a coverage standpoint, you call it cover 4 or quarters, that's something that based on reports from different media here in Philadelphia, a lot of people feel that's what the Eagles will be playing a lot of here this year. So I think when you look at an apples-to-apples comparison, take Trevon Merrick, the scheme that he played in at TCU, you can plug him right in. He could do a lot of the same things for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I love this player, and I think for reasons that a lot of people do. There's the production, there's what he did in school, but also the leadership. I mean, a leader on the team, a leader on the defense, a high IQ football player, and you saw those numbers. The production was there as well, so going to be really interesting to see where he ends up tonight. Before we go to break, I'm going to put everybody on the spot. Who is the player you are most surprised is still available tonight?
I'll go Owusu Kuramoa. Yeah, I mean, I already kind of said it, but I mean, there was a lot of mock drafts where he went in the teens.
Yeah.
And here he is still available.
I'm going to go 2 SEC defensive linemen. Christian Barmore, the local kid from right around the corner, Newman Goretti High School in South Philadelphia. But then also Azeez Ojulari, the pass rusher from Georgia. Both guys, potential top 20 talents, but fall out of the first round.
All great choices. JOK, I think, is probably mine for tonight, but all going to be really interesting to see. Of course, night 2 of the draft is upon us. We will be right back. Eagles Draft Central presented by Dietz Watson, proud partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. So Eagles fans, yesterday, Ross Tucker threw down the gauntlet, challenging you all to do better than him in Eagles Draft Trivia, which you can find on the Eagles app, thanks to our friends at NovaCare Rehabilitation. Ross, how you been doing so far?
Wait, are you putting me on the spot right now?
Right now.
I haven't done it yet. I'm kind of getting ready to be on TV for the Eagles doing the draft like we're doing right now. So, no, I haven't done it yet. But if you have, let me know on social media how you did. And then on Sunday, when the draft's over, I will make sure that I beat your score. Thank you.
Love it. Yeah, we've been just a little bit busy. No big deal. But, of course, I want to thank our friends again at Linden Italian Market for giving us a great supply of Dietz and Watson meats and cheeses. We have been busy. We haven't had time for trivia, but we have not been hungry, y'all.
I have a little bit of a confession to make. I haven't told you guys this yet, but I did take all of the leftovers. I was here late last night doing the Journey to the Draft podcast. You guys left. I scooped up all the leftover cheese, the crackers, the strawberries, everything that was there. That all went home with me.
Well, you guys saw what I did. First of all, as soon as we were done, I ran over there and I had an Italian hoagie. Then I took the tomatoes out so I could save the turkey and cheese for today. That's what I had for brunch. I had a Dietz and Watson turkey and cheese hoagie from Linden Market for brunch. Delicious. Highly recommend.
Basically in heaven, and we've been getting a supply every day, so we're totally spoiled. It's been awesome. All right, that is about it. It is about that time. I hope everybody is buckled up. Remember, we will be right back here after each Eagles draft pick for instant analysis. As it stands right now, that'll be pick 37 and pick 70 in the draft. But, of course, you have to stay on your toes because there is a good chance that that changes. As always, we will have live press conferences of the Eagles staff discussing each pick as well. It's all on our website, our app, and our social channels. Thanks to all of you for joining us here on Eagles Draft Central, presented by Dietz Watson. For Fran Duffy and Ross Tucker, I'm Amy Campbell, and we will see you when the picks are in.